like bodies. The official handing over of these books, Cash Forfeiture Policy and Cash Forfeiture Handbooks, are clear evidence of the support that the RSS ARU has provided to the FIU and other law enforcement agencies in Dominica. The strengthening of the civil cash forfeiture is paramount for law enforcement. Therefore, an assessment of the current situation identified that there was a need for the development of the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force Cash Seizure Handbook. This handbook aims to bring a standardized approach as to how cash is handled and secured by all police officers and other law enforcement agencies. Once these standards are being maintained by the police and other law enforcement agencies in Dominica, the following are some of the benefits. Fulfilling the Financial Action Task Force standards in relation to immediate outcome 8, proceeds and instrumentality of crimes are confiscated. Create a structured approach for cooperation by law enforcement practitioners. Create standardized approach to investigations. Good policy strategy initiative by the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force. Increase public confidence. Increase the number of civil asset forfeiture matters that are investigated, filed, and determined by limited judicial technicalities. Increase the knowledge base in this area and are created at a specialized area of practice for all police officers. And the Cash Forfeiture Handbook is in keeping with the legislative reform and aim to a practical guide in the seizure, detention, and forfeiture of cash in the Commonwealth of Dominica. With the issuance of these books, law enforcement authorities in Dominica are better able to coordinate and collaborate in the investigations of financial crime. This combined drive and support from the RSS ARU in regards to Dominica's effort to combat financial crime continues to bear fruits, not only in regards to these two comprehensive operational documents, but additional documents provided in supporting the development of policies and procedures among law enforcement agencies in the Commonwealth of Dominica. It is indicative to note that the Commonwealth of Dominica has a robust confiscation regime, which has been highlighted in high regards by the international community. The forfeiture of cash and instrumentalities of crime remains a hallmark of Dominica's fight to take the profits out of crime. I would like to underscore our deepest appreciation to the RSS ARU for their dedication and hard work throughout the years and beyond, as you continue to serve the RSS member states. We certainly value your generosity, contribution, and pledge to the ongoing partnership. We recognize the important role the RSS ARU plays in the region in keeping with the organization's main objective of providing guidance in combating financial crime in the region. By keeping to this fundamental objective, RSS ARU has over the years demonstrated its pivotal role as a significant partner in the fight against financial crime. With the continued assistance of the RSS ARU, the FIU and law enforcement authorities in Dominica will continue to prepare and face the processes of financial crime with the seriousness that it deserves. In this regard, I call on the RSS ARU and all other partners to continue to lend us a supporting hand, a hand that recognizes our limitations and encourages us, support our initiatives, provide necessary training, guide our key institution, and share necessary information to keep in steering forward our processes. Before I take my seat, let me say thanks to the former director of the RSS ARU, Mr. Glenville Williams, who started the process. The present director, Ms. Keisha Sutherland, and the entire team of the RSS ARU for the tremendous support and assistance provided and continue to provide to the FIU and Dominica in its effort to combat financial crime. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell, for such heartwarming remarks. You have siren the call for law enforcement to keep the fight to these criminals. With much further ado, next person to the stand is none other than the Honorable Raven Blackmore, Minister for National Security and Legal Affairs. But before he takes the stand, I would like to say something in behalf to what Mr. Blackmore has done in terms of the fight, and which in this place that we have 3 books. We are only presenting one, but others were presented prior. And in August of last year, a slew of legislation was passed within 2 weeks to meet the internationally accepted standards. And I must say, as an assessor, that Dominica did extremely well in our legislative framework. Within the OECS, Dominica has one of the best legislative framework, without a shadow of a doubt. And this has to do with the high political will of the minister. And no one can take that away from him. He would say, why all of these changes, the amendments? But he's always willing to give it a try. And he supports the FIU in that regard. So high praises to him for that. Mr. Blackmore, the podium is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Thanks for your compliments. Let me also extend a welcome to everyone here this morning. I want to especially recognize our Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security and Legal Affairs, who has been steadfast in the support of all the work we have been doing over the years, and has been tremendous support to the minister. So commendation has to be given to her support also. I also want to recognize the Chief Magistrate. Thank you very much for inspiring invocation. I do hope, therefore, that will lead to the rebirth of the West Indies cricket team. And I want to recognize also the Director of the Financial Intelligence Unit in Dominica and the Director of the RSS, Regional Security System Asset Recovery Unit. Please extend my regards to your Executive Director. I want to say at this juncture that the RSS has been a model of an organization within the sub-region and the world by extension. I also want to recognize on the head table Assistant Superintendent of Police, Mr. George Theophil, and distinguished invited guests, members of the media fraternity, and those of you viewing us have been told that it might be live. I'm not sure if that is the case, but good morning to everyone. I must say that I'm significantly pleased and honored to be here this morning to be part of this very important, short but very important function. And this ceremony, as you heard from the chairperson, is yet another demonstration of the government of Dominica's commitment to combating financial crimes. And over the years, your government has invested significantly in boosting and improving the human resource component within the requisite law enforcement agencies, to include the Financial Intelligence Unit. We have actually ensured that we have in place adequate officers who was well trained to the extent to which they have been referred to as the best in the sub-region and are being therefore sought after. And we have ensured that specialized unit within the excise, custom and excise division have been effective. We have also ensured that the requisite legal framework have been enacted and given effect to ensure that we're compliant from an international standard, and of course have in regard for international best practices. And today, we have two very simple but significant events taking place here today. First has to do with the handbook that you heard from the executive director, the handing over of the Dominica's Cash Forefeiture Handbook, and secondly, the policy, which is also important in the fight against financial crime. And I don't want to really litigate all what has been said thus far by the executive director and of the RSS, and also the director of the FIU in Dominica. But I think, just to add, that it is important that the law enforcement officers are actually guided on the requirement of the law in terms of seeking to establish that what you're trying to seize, therefore, is your practices are consistent with the requirements of the law, and therefore it's important to follow the proper procedures in doing so. And I want to just add further to something that was said by the executive director of both the RSS Asset Recovery Unit and our own Mr. Farrell. And it's important to have a handbook that can serve as not only as an effective tool, but as an appropriate reference point, whereby the relevant laws can be articulated and detailed, and the procedures and best practices can be outlined and followed by the law enforcement officials. And I want to say further and support the notion that especially as it pertains to money laundering, that in order to deter those criminals, we have to ensure that they're hit hard. And you hit them hard, and I'm not sure whether that's the appropriate analogy or metaphor to use, but you have to ensure that you extract, you take away the profit from that enterprise. And that is why, in that regard, therefore, I want to really commend the efforts of the FIU in Dominica for ensuring over the years that over $10 million has been forfeited. And that money has been placed back into the fight against crime. And I just want to make reference to that significant investment we did as a government in ensuring that we have proper scanning machines placed at the port of entries in Dominica. And the funding for that intervention came from the Asset Forfeiture Fund. And that demonstrates that this government is calculated and in its determination to combating financial crimes. And these two handbooks, or the policy and the handbook that we will be handing over today, in my view, the intention is to ensure that by following the best practices and the rule of law, we can be successful in forfeiting cash, etc. And that is ultimately, that's what we want to establish. And I believe that this event here today and the handing over of the handbook and the policy, the intention, therefore, is to achieve that by ensuring that we drain the source, the l'argent, we take it from them and to put it back into the fight against crime. Because even if guys go to jail, when they come from jail, if they have access to resources, they're still going to get fat. So you have to ensure that you drain them, you drain the swamp. And we are deliberate in our attempt as a government and as a nation to drain that source, that l'argent, that is really encouraging crooks and criminals to be involved in financial crime. So we are determined, and you heard from the chairperson, that we have been fighting as a government to remain compliant from an international standard. And I'm happy at our last review, from what I've been told, that we did well. And that is so because of the tremendous investment that the government has been actually investing in that sector. And the caliber of officers we have within the FIU, within the Custom and Excise Department, within the police force, and the aegis chambers, we have ensured that we continue to employ additional staff within the aegis chambers, bringing in more attorneys. We will be looking at the DP's office to provide additional staffing and additional support. We'll be bringing in a special prosecutor to prosecute matters relating to firearms and drugs, because we have to understand that the financial crimes, that there's a cross-fertilization of crime. People who are involved in money laundering, sometimes not the same one who are involved in illicit trafficking of firearms. So there's a connection, there's a nexus that we have to break up. And I believe, therefore, one of the best ways to do that is that because the financial crimes are transnational in scope, we have to therefore adopt a collective approach and drawing from the region and drawing from the RSS. And that is what today is all about. What we're seeing unfolding today is a continuation of work that has begun years ago, where the law enforcement agencies within Dominica, the police, the customs, the FIU, the aegis chambers, the DPP, have been collaborating with RSS and international agencies to ensure that we confront head-on issues associated with financial crime. I endorse today's event. I want to place on the record again, Dominica's and the government of Dominica's appreciation of the tremendous work that the regional security system, from its inception, have been doing to ensure that our sub-region remain as safe as possible. Please again extend my commendation and gratitude to your director. I wish you well. I'm not sure how many of you from RSS were here with two, but you're welcome to stay to watch the 5 days of cricket. And you know, you're welcome. And I can advise you as to where you can stay, but please feel welcome. I also want to, again, commend the effort of the magistracies, because at the end of the day, the bulk of these cases are dealt with and disposed of at the magistrate court level. And so the magistrate court, the court is an independent entity, but of course we have to recognize that everyone has his or her role to play, because it's only by the way of a collective endeavor we'll work on behalf of the people and to combat this little devil, financial crimes, etc. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for such excellent remarks. You covered all angles, 360, all aspects of the framework, and we'd like to thank you for that. Now is the key event, what we came here for, to demonstrate Dominica's effectiveness. A picture tells 1,000 words. The assessor will ask, you said you have a handbook, where is it? You are fighting crime. But the book which shows that we are using a book, police are competent, the FIU staff are competent, the customer are competent, because we have a book, a guide to follow. And this is a 1-2-3 punch. 1-2-3 punch for the police. Excellent work that the police can use in the fight against financial crime. And on our side, Honorable Minister, more amendments, cryptocurrency, so we have cash, so maybe next year, about this time, we have to pass more amendments to capture crypto. So the fight never done. It's never done. It's never done. crypto is the next thing that we have to create a handbook, have our public wallet, our private wallet, and be able to fight crime like that. So the amendments are coming, Mr. Minister, and that's the fight that we have to take to the criminals. Ready? Yes.
She would say something first.
Welcome to the podium, Ms. Carrington, Chanika Carrington from the RSS ARU. Handing over ceremony.
Good morning, all. Protocol having been established, it is my esteemed honor to be here today to hand over the Cash Seizure Handbook, which is bespoke to Dominica practices and procedure and law. We would like to thank the Financial Intelligence Unit, the Customs Department, the Office of the Commissioner of Police in consulting with us to prepare this handbook and be present today to receive it on behalf of their relevant agencies. Their assistance has made this project possible. In fulfilling Dominica's international obligations to implement coordinated efforts to counter cash smuggling and to conceal and confiscate the proceeds of crime, this cash handbook outlines the procedure in which this mechanism can be achieved. It is our desire as an asset recovery unit to enhance our member states' capabilities in seizing cash, as well as to deprive criminals of the proceeds of their crime. We hope that this handbook deepens the understanding of the state agencies in countering cash seizure and to forge a greater understanding for new police officers, customs officers, as well as financial investigators in pursuing cash forfeiture proceedings. I wish now to present this handbook to the minister.
That's it? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Mr. Farrell from the FIU, please come up. Chief Magistrate, Mrs. Khan, the carriage judge. Acting Superintendent of Police, Mr. Josh Theophil, representative of the Chief of Police.
So we have two things to hand over to you, sir. So first, we would like to hand over the cash seizure policy that goes with the cash seizure handbook, right? Yes. This handbook. Thank you. And last but not least,
Mr. White, Deputy Comptroller of Customs.
and yes, I just wanted to say thank you to in terms of this handing over and why you saw all of these authorities today. Now, we have in Dominica the Financial Intelligence Unit, which is the leader of the AML-CFT fight against crime and corruption and every criminal illicit activity in Dominica. But the FIU cannot do it without customs, they cannot do it without the police. It is crucial, and as the minister said earlier, the buck stops at the magistrates, the judiciary, right, in terms of the magistrate. And so it is important in Dominica that we have a coordinated approach. And what you are seeing here today is evidence of a country that has a nationally coordinated approach, but not just any approach, but a comprehensive approach. So we thank you very much for all of the different law enforcement and the representatives here today who would have received this book, and we know that it will continue to play a vital role. And I know we could not have done this without the permanent secretary. So thank you very, very much. Everything was possible here today because of you. And I know there's a vote of thanks that is coming, but I just wanted to say that personally from the regional security system, that we thank you so much for the work that you have done to ensure that all of this was possible today. Thank you.
Mr. Donan, the domestic coordination cooperation is not a fancy just doing. We have been recognized internationally because it has been seen that we do cooperate effectively. And RSS has been a good partner in giving us that type of guidance as well. With no further ado, we reach the end of the program. Cricket is there, so I'm no person want to look at the cricket. So the vote of thanks, Mr. Anderson Joseph, Financial Analyst of the FIU.
Good morning, everybody. I know cricket is there, so I know everybody wants to leave. First and foremost, let me just thank God for everything that has happened here today. With that said, protocol being established, I would like to say thank you to the RSS, ARU, on behalf of the Ministry of National Security and the government by extension. I want to tell you thank you, heartedly, wholeheartedly, for the presentation of the cash Forefeiture Handbook. And it's not just that, you continue to play a pivotal role in assisting the region in fighting crime. This is a tool which will be used by law enforcement here, police, customs, and I believe that it will be effective in every way. Once again, I want to share wholeheartedly thank you for everything you've done and you will continue to do. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our ceremony. It was nice having you, and let's continue the fight. There's snacks. Okay. The fight against criminality and to take the profit out of the crime. Thank you, everyone.